How's it going? You're very welcome along to Premier League Friday. We're going to be with you every single Friday lunchtime, giving you the best odds and tips ahead of the weekend's football. Check out offtheball.com/BoyleSports for some brilliant specials ahead of the opening weekend. I'm joined in studio by Ger Leon. How are you?
Yeah, excited.
Leon Blanche of BoyleSports, you excited?
I am. I'm very excited. Looking forward to it. It's great to have something new kicking the season off on a Friday night. Brilliant.
Yeah, those were a long 3 weeks, weren't they? Since the World Cup final.
Yeah. Whew. Withdrawal symptoms, football withdrawal symptoms.
That's tough for our family for a while there.
I know, yeah.
Tough going.
I mean, I definitely think that they could do with a little bit of a bigger break. And I think that actually English football is going to really regret they didn't take the bigger break and try and push it back so that they got the same transfer deadline day as everybody else. Because what we're going to see over the next 3 weeks is some of the best players in English football being leached out into European football.
Well, they made that decision. 14 of the 20 clubs voted that they wanted to bring the transfer deadline forward because they were sick of the next 3 weeks being trying to play matches while all their players been linked with moves away.
So Spurs, Man United, Arsenal, City, Chelsea and Liverpool were like, no, screw you. And everybody else like, well, hang on a second.
Yeah, finally we have a little bit of power here.
Yeah.
So listen, they're going to have to put up with it. But it all gets underway tonight, Manchester United against Leicester. So coming up over the next half an hour or so, we're going to have Kevin Kilban's weekend treble. We will have the first instalment of our little in-house competition between the three of us with our bets of the weekend. And we also want you to screen grab your special. Viewers can take a screen grab of their offtheball.com/BoyleSports special. This week, it's 50-1 for a goal to be scored at any time in Sunday's game between Arsenal and Manchester City. Or you can back Manchester City to win that game at 2-1. And we also have a match bet of up to €100. All you need to do is send us a screen grab of your bet using the hashtag OTB special on Twitter, on Instagram, or PM us on Facebook. We'll pick one random winner before Sunday and we will supersize your bet. That means we're going to treble your odds, Ger. So if you back Manchester City at 2-1, we're going to supersize it to 6-1.
Yeah,
it's basic maths.
They're not trebling the 50-1 though. Just to specify that.
No. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Don't mind them. We are trebling the 50-1 as well. All you have to do is take a screen grab, hashtag OTB special till Sunday at midday. Or it's open all week long. It is open all week long because we're going to be doing this every week. So just send us a screen grab of that whenever you get a chance.
Just take it out of Nathan's wages.
Yeah,
we're live on all our social channels as well, so if you have a comment, do get in touch, and who knows, we may have a few bets to give away between now and the end of the show.
So my bet of the week is going to be Man City to beat Arsenal. I'm getting 2-1, right? That's what's happening in this, and then that's what I'm going to win this week. So that's how this works.
Well, that's not what you told us in advance, but you're changing. You're literally changing the rules of everything we had spoken about pre-show as we're going on. So literally anything can happen over the next.
I was told I'm not allowed to pick it. That's what I remember.
Well, yes, it's probably going to happen. It is in one way one of the shames of the season being back so early. We have Arsenal against Manchester City live on Sunday, and a lot of the better players may not be playing because they're literally just back in training since Monday. You want these games later on when teams have got into a full flow.
Yeah, you do. But I think looking at Sergio Aguero last Sunday, I think he means business, and I think he's laid down a marker to Pep to tell Pep Guardiola, I'm your number one striker. I thought he was very sharp last week. I really fancy Man City. They've been backed into odds on, actually. They've gone 10-11. There's no real support for Arsenal. Arsenal are drifting towards 3-1, which is a big price for, Arsenal at home, but they're notoriously slow starters. I think City will have benefited from last week's game, even though it's kind of a friendly, the Community Shield, but I really fancy Man City. I think they'll win away against Arsenal.
They are strong favourites to retain the title. It hasn't happened in a decade that the team has been able to go back to back, but this doesn't seem like it's any other team.
No, and I think if you look at them, they've got a brand new left full in Mendy, who missed the whole of last season. He's a proper left full. They've added in Riyad Mahrez, who I think will benefit from not being at the World Cup. So the likes of maybe a Sterling, who had an indifferent World Cup. I felt he played well without scoring, and Mahrez can come straight in. Sané missed the World Cup. So you've got players now, you're saying, okay, Sané's fresh, Mahrez is fresh, Mendy is fresh, and then you look at all the other players they have. There's a reason why they're 6-4 on, Nathan. They hit 100 points last year. If you look at the challengers, and I think Liverpool have signed well. They've strengthened the spine. I was at the Aviva last week. Yeah, it's a friendly, but Alisson done everything right. Keita looks a real box-to-box player. I'm not too sure about Fabinho. Is that how you pronounce him? I'm not too sure about him yet. I think if anyone's going to challenge Man City I think Liverpool are probably best equipped squad-wise. They're 4-1.
I would make the case that Man United are best equipped squad-wise, but have the wrong manager for that squad. But I think that I totally understand, like, as we stand right here today, you can't see Jose Mourinho building a team over the course of the season that's going to put it up to Man City. Whereas with Klopp, with the power they had last season, with having taken the corrective surgery to buy Van Dijk and buy a goalkeeper, it's almost as if Jurgen Klopp is the manager that Arsene Wenger would have been if he'd corrected his issues in central defence. And it's like, I see a problem, I diagnose it, I fix it.
Well, I remember being at Anfield probably, 15, 16 months ago at the end of the season before last, and one of Liverpool's final games, I think they had 5 teenagers on the bench. They had no options. They had no options to bring on for the final 20 minutes. You look at the depth of that squad now, from right back where they could go with Klein, Alexander-Arnold, Gomez, 4 or 5 decent options at centre half as well. And in midfield, all right, they've lost Emre Can, but they still have Wijnaldum and Henderson to go with Chiesa, Fabinho.
Yeah.
Shaqiri can play in there. Adam Lallana is back. Suddenly, he has a little bit of a headache. Daniel Sturridge is still at Liverpool. He didn't move.
No, he didn't move.
He looks as though he's reinvigorated. Maybe something clicked in him last season when he had to go off on loan and life wasn't looking pretty good, and he was looking from afar at Liverpool and what Jurgen Klopp was doing and thinking, I want to be a part of this. I want to put my head down and work. And even if he is just a bit part player and coming on for half an hour or playing starting a game once every 3 weeks, like on his day, Daniel Sturridge is one of the best strikers in the Premier League.
He is a very good goal scorer, Nathan. If you give him a chance, he normally finishes it off. It's the first time I think I've ever heard Klopp praise Daniel Sturridge about his attitude in terms of how he's been. He looks fit. He looked very sharp when he came on last Saturday at the Aviva. Shaqiri, I think, is probably one of the best bits of business. When you look at, 12.5 million, 13 million, he looked really sharp again when he came off the bench at half time. And as you rightly said, throw in James Milner as well, another player. So Liverpool are stacked. They've got a good squad, but I still find it hard to see them get past Manchester City. I just look at City and the way Pep had them playing last year. They're going to be very, very difficult to stop. I agree with Ger in terms of Manchester United. They've got a squad, but I think the manager does not want to be there anymore.
Just on Manchester City then, Ger, before we get to United and what challenge they may pose. So one of the reasons it's difficult to go back-to-back is, I guess, the teams figure you out from time to time. That actually City have a style of play, as brilliant as it is. Teams have had a good year and a half to sit and watch and analyse, and there's good analysis there, and to figure out how to sit deep and set up defensively to frustrate the life out of them. They've only signed Riyad Mahrez. Does that change their style of play? Is there an automatic dip in motivation when you've had such an unbelievable season?
Well, yes.
Or is that where Guardiola comes into his own?
Well, I don't know. I don't know about him coming into his own because, you remember at Barcelona when the team was at their peak, they had world-class players in every position who were cresting through their peak. At this point, was last season Kevin De Bruyne's best ever season, and then he goes to a World Cup, and does he come back disappointed and take 3 months to get into it? And I don't know if he is the self-motivated equivalent of Xavi or Iniesta, who would have been the kind of similar type of important player. Like, Aguero might want to be the number one striker, but he's not as good anymore as he used to be. He's not still in the absolute top tier of world-class strikers.
Or is he just massively underestimated because he still scores goals every time he plays? My general rule with City for the last 5 years in terms of the start of the season was, if Sergio Aguero plays over 30 games, they're going to win the league because he's going to score 25 goals. His rate of scoring is still that good. It's a question of everything else he does. Is that enough?
And he picks up a lot of injuries as the season goes on.
He's starting to pick up a lot of injuries.
Well, he only played 25 games last season. He scored 21 goals.
Yeah, I mean, so there's never going to be a season, I think, where he plays 50 games and scores 40 goals. I'd be amazed if he has one of those seasons. Maybe he does. The flip side to the difficulty of them maintaining what they did last year is the fact that the attacking trio were so young that, like, Sterling is still a kid, Sané is still a kid, Gabriel Jesus is still a kid. Like, there's a possibility that they become one of the greatest attacking trios in the history of world football over the next 4 or 5 seasons. And they have a manager who is giving them their head and going, oh, go on, off you go. And when they fail, they're bringing Sergio Aguero on, or they're bringing Riyad Mahrez on now to kind of go, well, actually, that's all right. We've got these kids. Don't worry about it, So, like, it's a genuinely exciting prospect that it will be put up to them over the course of the season.
Yeah.
You would expect them to be able to see Liverpool off, but I think they have a genuine title race. Fingers crossed for all our sakes.
Yeah, yeah. We wanted to go a little bit longer than it did last year because it was
shambles.
It was over by the turn of the year.
So Jose Mourinho somehow turned into a Roy Hodgson type figure, just a master of lowering expectations at the start of the season. It never went well then for Roy Hodgson because fans want to hope and they want to dream. But you look at this Manchester United squad still, and you touched on it, Ger. They probably have the best goalkeeper in world football still. A very expensively assembled defence with Eric Bailly, if he's fully fit, at the centre of that. They've added Fred for 60 million quid for a bit of energy. They still have Matic and Pogba, the most expensive player in the world, and they have Romelu Lukaku up front with a whole host of creative players around them. Like, this is a team that should be thereabouts. Certainly Liverpool's equal.
Oh, absolutely, Nathan. They have got an unbelievable squad. I struggled to understand Mourinho with his need for another centre-back, excuse me, when they only conceded one more goal than Man City did last season. The problem with Manchester United was they weren't being allowed play with freedom. The creativity was being drained from them. You could see it. And I think if you let these players, the Sanchez, the Martial, the Rashford, the Pogbas, let them express themselves. We saw it last year when they were 2-0 down against Man City at half-time. They came out second half and they just said, right lads, let's have a go.
Yeah.
And these expressive players went out there and scored goals and created chances. They've got a great squad. Maybe Mourinho is being a master at just lowering expectations. And let's see how they play tonight. It's a nice opener against Maguire. I think this season, it's all down to the manager. Can he just get these players to do what they do best and go and attack?
Yeah, Jose isn't in the habit of trying to put out the fire. He just throws a little bit more petrol on it generally, and that may not be what Manchester United need right now. I do want to get on to some of the other teams. We've a comment in on Twitter from Isolt Cody. Oh dear God, I'm going to be the first person ever to be fired as manager by an app. I presume she's talking about her fantasy football team. At Off the Ball Weekend Preview Show. Better give out good advice. We are going to give out good advice, and we're going to give you a €50 free bet as well. Isolt, sorry about this, Leon. I'm
That's
just
okay.
losing the run of myself this afternoon. Spurs, they're your bet for the weekend, Ger.
Yeah, so I like Pochettino. I like what he's done. I like the way that they have steadily built, and I also like the way they started to pay their players properly over the course of the last season, with the exception of Danny Rose, who clearly it turns out needed to get paid and should have been paid. So my bet this week is Spurs to beat Newcastle. When we did this last night, it was 11-10, but obviously the smart money agrees with me, and so the price has tightened a bit since.
Yeah, it's tightened a little bit. They're a shade better than even money. And as Ger was just saying before we came on air, a lot of problems up in Newcastle. However, they have strengthened a little bit. Rafa Benitez, I don't think he'll be there this time next season. There's huge problems with the owner, and Newcastle fans deserve a lot better. They deserve an owner to come in and spend a little bit of money. Like,
it's crazy no one's bought that
52,000 people there every home game, and it doesn't matter where they are in the table. So I'd agree with Ger. I fancy Spurs to nick. It won't be easy. First game of the season. I think Benitez will be very happy with a 0-0 draw.
It's an early kickoff as well.
It's an early kickoff.
This strikes me as a game that's going to finish 0-0 or 1-1. Rafa Benitez, despite everything that's gone on, still has a brilliant ability to organise a defence against the Tottenham side, who will have had very little time in training. All right, they understand each other, but how many of those players are going to start? Harry Kane is back in training a week.
Christian
just had a child this week. Is he going to be in the frame of mind? He's never scored in August.
Yeah.
Has never scored a goal in August.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable though.
Harry Kane not to score would be a good bet.
Possibly.
3 games in August, I think they have, haven't they? They've got 3 Premier League games, but yeah, I can see Benitez frustrating Tottenham, but I think they might just nick it by the odd goal.
My bet for the weekend is in the Sunday game between Southampton and Burnley. I think Southampton at home are going to have too much, 20-23.
Odds on Southampton.
Odds on.
To beat Burnley.
Burnley have one eye on the Europa League.
No, they don't.
They do. They have been playing matches for the last 3 weeks, so they very much have one eye on the Europa League.
They're fit then. They're
I
match
think
ready.
that they're distracted, and I think they've struggled at times, certainly a couple of years ago, away from home. Southampton, they got away with it last season. They've made some decent signings. Mark Hughes had a full summer to implement what he wanted to implement, and this, at their root, is a quality team.
Is it 2 years ago? Is it? Are they? Okay, we'll come back to that in a second.
I think they just need motivation. I think they have the players. They just need a little bit of motivation.
Liverpool let Burnley beat in the opening day of the season, or was it Arsenal a couple of years ago?
Well, they certainly beat Liverpool early in the season.
Yeah.
They beat Chelsea
Oh yeah.
on the opening day of last season.
Last season, that was a Stamford
3-2.
Bridge.
Yeah, come on. I think Burnley are actually a good bet in that game. Like, I don't know what season Burnley are going to have. I'm interested to see. Their recruitment has been interesting. Like, if you've played in the Premier League before, if you're British, come on down.
Yeah.
Sean Dyche has a type.
Well, it's worked for him previously, so
maybe
why change it?
But I think it's going to really stretch his squad, being in the Europa League and playing Thursday and having to catch up all the time, coming back on a Sunday. It doesn't help a lot of sides, Nathan. It's great for Burnley to be in Europe, But I think, again, this could be a stalemate. 9-4 to me stands out as the better bet here. Danny Ings is a good signing for Southampton. I'd like to see him stay injury-free. He's had a horrific time, and he was a good goal scorer for Burnley before he got his dream move to Liverpool, but it just didn't work out because of injuries. I think 9-4 would be a safer bet for me.
Our second €50 free bet goes to Winston Smith on Facebook, though I'm not happy about this. What is the issue with off-the-ball presenters not being able to pronounce Klopp's name?
Klopp.
Is this just focused on me?
Presume so.
Klopp.
I don't know.
Klopp.
A lot of people call him Klopp. Some people call him Klopp.
I think it's focused on you, Ger.
I don't know.
So we're giving the 50 quid to Winston Smith. What's your bet of the weekend, Leon?
Well, you know what? I'm going to go with the Bet Builder. It was just up on the screen. And this is for people, you don't have to bet big. You can put on €1 and watch tonight's game. And this is what I'm all about. Bet small and hopefully dream of the big results.
So explain the Bet Builder to us.
Okay, so all you got to do is you pick your game and you go down through the whole list of markets and you decide yourself which ones you want to put in. So Man United to win straight are 8-15. Alexis Sanchez to score the first goal scorer, if you were backing him on his own, is 4-1. And for both teams to score tonight, if you say yes, that's at 23-20. Do the mathematics and it adds out to a fantastic 14-1. So for €1, sit down, watch tonight's game. If you're a United fan, it's a great way to get involved without risking any type of money. €1 to hopefully win 14.
I like both teams to score and I like Man United to win. You can also, we were pricing up there as well. You can take so I think it's going to be 2-1 to Man United basically. I can pick the draw -1 and that gave me about 6-1 as well. So like if you don't fancy the first goal scorer, it's like there's...
You know what it's doing? Bet Builder is all about just having a look at a game and picking a couple of different markets that you feel are going to happen. Stick them all together and it increases the odds.
I think it's a good way to watch those shitty 0-0 games that are inevitably going to happen as the weather turns bad.
Southampton against Burnley.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're in on
Burnley,
a Friday night and your family are questioning your life decisions.
Yeah, no goals, under 9.5 corners, no yellow cards because they don't want to get injured ahead of Christmas.
2/3 possession, get in there, yeah.
So get your comments in. We still have a couple more of those €50 bets to give away. We're live on all our social channels on facebook.com/offtheball, youtube.com/offtheball, and we are on Periscope as well. Want to talk top scorer because it's always one of the more interesting bets. I haven't looked at the odds. I'm assuming Harry Kane is the favourite.
You assume correctly. He is the 5-2 favourite. No surprise who's right behind him, and it's Mo Salah. And people have said to me, yeah, but surely he cannot do what he did last season. But you look at when he went to the World Cup half fit, he still scored.
Yeah.
He went to the Aviva last Saturday. There was 3 players around him from Napoli. He somehow managed to wriggle out and hit a perler into the top corner. He's on fire. He's 5-1 second favourite. But another guy, I think, if he gets service, Aubameyang. He was playing with quite a poor Arsenal team on the second half of last season, but he's just a proven goal scorer. He's 6-1. Aguero, your man Nathan, 7-1. You don't normally see Sergio Aguero as big as 7-1 to be top scorer.
The only question mark with Sergio Aguero is what games Gabriel Jesus plays. So you're sitting there and they're at home against Cardiff and suddenly he decides to leave Aguero out and Jesus scores 4 goals.
Yeah.
And it kills you.
Yeah, it does. And I think you've got to look at that one before you have a first goal scorer bet. You've got to look at a player who's going to play every single week. Harry Kane plays every week. Salah will play every week. Aubameyang will play every week. Lukaku will probably play every week. I was looking at, and he's probably not prolific enough, but Firmino at 25-1. He probably doesn't score enough, Ger, but he gets involved in a lot of Liverpool's goals. He has assists, he scores.
He scored a lot more goals last season as well.
He did, and he was getting more, I think Firmino does an awful lot of work that you never see unless you're at the game. He tirelessly is on the back four all the time, but he is a goal scorer.
I'm surrounded here. I've just realised I am completely surrounded by people who like to go to the cop. Just say, oh look, I've accidentally ended up at the cop
here. It's an enjoyable place to watch football, Jerry.
I remember the reserves.
If I was having a bet, I would go to Aubameyang. I just think he's a goal machine.
So Aubameyang last season sort of went under the radar when he arrived in because obviously everything was about Arsene Wenger and Arsenal's struggles, but he scored a load of goals. The only question I would have about Aubameyang is where he will play under Unai Emery, because there was times last season where Wenger went with Lacazette as the further striker forward and Aubameyang played out in the left wing. If he plays every game, is he going to be affected by the Europa League? But you would think if he plays up front as the number 9, he's going to get 20 goals this season.
I think, to be fair to Wenger, last season he was playing Lacazette to give him game time because Aubameyang couldn't play in the Europa League. So he was trying to get both of them into the same team. So, look, I mean, if I have Aubameyang, I play him as my main striker.
Yeah, and it's Unai Emery doesn't know Lacazette anything. It's not his signing.
Yeah.
Just a quick. So last season, obviously Salah wins this, but Salah would have been massive odds at the start of the season because no one had that expectation that he was going to go on that type of goal scoring streak. Is there anybody like that this year? Is one of the other two Man City players? They were both about 50 to 1, I think. If we could get the overall odds up again there. It looked like
You're talking about Leroy Sané or Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, or even Gabriel
Riyad
Jesus.
Mahrez. Gabriel Jesus, again, if you're taking the risk, I guess, of Jesus not starting. A possible outsider there is Marcus Rashford, that something has happened, that somehow Jose Mourinho trusts him and throws him in at 66 to 1.
If Sadio Mane is totally fit over the course of the full season to his goals.
Well, Sadio Mane will have enough chances over the season to score 30 goals.
It's whether he can take them.
It's whether he can take them or not.
But I think looking at this, you're getting each way the first 4 places. So you should be looking down at someone around about the 33, 40 to 1 mark to give you a bit of value. And even if he finishes 4th, you'll get paid anyway.
Vardy and Sané.
Vardy, yes, but he's got to stay fit. He's got to stay fit.
And he's old. He's actually, like, in Premier League terms, obviously he's still quite young, but really in real terms, he's quite old.
Well, Vardy, if you had a market on most goals against the top 6, Vardy would probably win that, and probably would have won that over the last 2 or 3 years because he's been brilliant in those games. He doesn't tend now to rack up a big score against teams in the bottom half. Maybe that switches, but again, at 40 to 1, he's a decent price. But listen, Harry
Kane's going to score 30 goals, right?
Harry Kane, last 4 seasons, 21, 25, 29, 30.
Yeah.
He's got better every season. And he's had to face that Mo Salah question every season of, he won't be able to keep this up.
Yeah.
He won't be able to keep this up. And he just gets better and better and better.
And he went to the World Cup not fit. And he still finished with
top scorer.
You know what I mean? Like he is he's a goal machine. I was interested to see Alexis Sanchez at 33 to 1. What type of role? Because he came into Old Trafford.
Well, 2 years ago he scored 25 goals in the league.
Does he take penalties?
He may have been. He was certainly scored a few free kicks.
Yeah.
But he has that in him.
I just hope he can get, like, I felt last season probably a little bit unfair towards him was that he came in to the expense of Rashford. And so Mourinho's got a bit of a predicament there, and I think I know which way he's going to go. He's going to play Sanchez ahead of Rashford. And I think just Sanchez, if he gets off to a good start, he could be on fire for Manchester United. Arsenal fans know all about Sanchez, what he done when he was on fire at the Emirates. 33 to 1 each way, first 4. I might have a little go at him.
Winston has been back in touch to confirm that it was Ger he was talking about. Winston, you've already got your 50 quid. We're not giving you any more, but I do have one final €50 bet to give away. It's going to Shane Darby on Facebook, who says Bobby Firmino, the most underrated number 9 in the Premier League, 20 goals coming this season.
Yeah, but not enough to get you in the top 4, is it? So, is it?
20 would be close, wouldn't it? It'd be close.
Thereabouts.
Yeah.
Like, we're in probably a golden era of strikers in that last season we had Salah broke the record with 32 goals. You had Harry Kane scoring 30 league goals
Not
and
winning
still
it.
not winning it.
Yeah.
You had Sergio Aguero scoring over 20 goals. You had Lukaku over 20 goals.
Mane, your point though, I think Mane, has he been nominated as Liverpool's penalty taker this season? Because he definitely scored when the Aviva. He wasn't on when they missed one against Torino the other night. I think if Mane is Liverpool's penalty taker, he could creep into the top 4.
We do have a true expert as well who does like to give us a little bit of advice from the odd time. Kevin Kilban is going to do his weekly treble, and this is one definitely worth backing. So Kev's bet this week.
Great minds think alike.
Well,
No longer 11 to 10, but
Spurs to beat Newcastle, Manchester City to beat Arsenal, and Fulham, who have had a pretty incredible transfer window, to beat Crystal Palace in a London derby. All comes in at 10 to 1.
Well, he's been on the ball with Spurs because he's got the value. I think we're all in agreement. I think City will get off to a win away against Arsenal. And then it's the London derby, and Fulham coming up from the Championship. Are they at home against Palace?
They are, yeah. At home against Crystal Palace. The Cottage. It's not exactly a fortress, but...
No, but I think...
is it not the type of venue that, like, in the fans... Because
it's tight, it's small,
tight,
but listen, it's a nice place to go watch football.
Palace haven't done a lot of business, have they? They've signed maybe 2 or 3 players, but listen, keeping hold of Zaha was huge for them. I see now in the fantasy football for our comment, he was now a striker. He's not a midfielder anymore. So if you're looking at Zaha on your fantasy team, he's now as a striker. I don't think he's going to be as effective, but I think that's not a bad treble.
Yeah, it all depends how quickly all these Fulham players, and I know some of them are still injured when they arrived at the club, how many of them can come together and link up, or does he actually for the first few weeks stick with the vast majority of the side that managed to get them promoted?
Well, I suppose you do stick with that side because you're giving them the chance. I mean, like, they're actually the players who've got you up to the promised land. They're the guys who've got you to the Premier League. They know your system. They know your style of play.
And you want competition. You want genuine competition in training so that actually people come in sharp, putting in good practice as opposed to floating in, coming in automatically straight in the team. You piss off the people who got you there and you create this two-tier system where clearly they're all getting way more money than the guys who got them up. So that's a pretty interesting game. You should remind everybody that it's 2-1 for City to beat Arsenal for off-the-ball users.
Yeah, and don't forget, if you jump on any of those off-the-ball specials on offtheball.com/BoyleSports, where you're going to randomly pick one bet to supersize. All you need to do is screen grab your bet and send it to hashtag OTB Special. That's on Twitter, on Instagram, or you can PM us on Facebook. We'll pick one winner before Sunday's game, but we're going to be running that each week, so it's open to jump in on the action from Monday ahead of next weekend's games as well. And a reminder of those BoyleSports specials: 50-1 for a goal to be scored at any time in the match between City and Arsenal. 2-1 for Manchester City to win that game, or a match bet of up to €100. Very briefly, relegation, or Fulham right in the mix for that?
I'm just looking at the prices here. Cardiff are favourites. They're 6-4 on to actually go down. And I think Huddersfield, who by an absolute miracle stayed up last season, I don't see them staying up this season. If I was having a bet on relegation, I definitely would be backing Huddersfield at 11-10. Watford, I think they've made a great signing in Ben Foster in goal. Again, for fantasy football people out there, he pulls off an awful lot of saves. Ben Foster is a very, very decent addition to them. I'd be a little bit slightly worried about Brighton. And at 5-2, I think it's a decent enough price. I hope they do stay up because I'm a huge admirer of Chris Hughton. But if I was having one bet to be relegated, I'm going Huddersfield.
Yeah, I think I totally echo what you're saying about Brighton. He's performed miracles. You can't keep performing miracles. Southampton don't even appear on that list. The sixth there, they're not in the top six. Why do you think Southampton are still good?
I just think Hughes is a decent manager who can... I watched Southampton quite a bit last year. They have quality players. They just need a manager who can somehow motivate them. So somebody like Ryan Bertrand at left back would have thought he would have been in the England squad, but his head had just dropped. He was totally out of form for the last 18 months. Just, I think, saw all his mates leave, but he's stuck there. He was expected to leave this summer. I think players like that, Hughes, can actually get into their head. The likes of Nathan Redmond has the ability to go and play in an England squad as well. It's whether they can get somebody to score goals. Maybe Danny Ings is that player, because that's the one issue they've had. Charlie Austin scores goals but has been really injury prone. Shane Long, unfortunately, is probably going to struggle to get in the side this year, but they do have the talent. They have a real solid side there if they have a manager who can somehow get them motivated.
I'm not sold on Mark Hughes as a manager. I just think that he's,
Why? Mark Hughes got Stoke to finish in the top half of the table.
Brings that pretend aggression to everybody.
I don't think it's pretend. I think he's just very angry.
I don't know.
I think they're around about a 13-2, 7-1 chance to get relegated.
I think that's not a bad. I think as an outside bet, I think that's not bad. I think you can see Cardiff and Huddersfield. I think Watford might be okay.
Well, the one thing with the relegation fight, the only issue with it is, of the bottom 7 teams, 6 of them are going to change manager, and it's which of those 2 or 3 somehow inspire something in the second half of the season. That is the one risk when you're looking at that relegation fight.
Yeah. That's why I think maybe 7-1 is not a bad price now.
And just in terms of managers, Jose Mourinho has been back this morning from 7-1 into 5-1 to be the first manager gone in the Premier League this season. And I'm hearing Paul Scholes say he's got to get off to a good start. I'm hearing other ex-Man United players, decorated Manchester United players who've won everything, saying if he doesn't start well, the fans are going to get on him, because I think Manchester United fans want to see good football. And I think with that squad, as we've already said, they should be playing good football. So it's going to be interesting with Mourinho. It's going to be interesting to watch exactly what happens. I think there's 3 games before the first international break. I think he needs 9 from 9. Because if he doesn't...
Well, they got that last... And this is the strange thing when you look back at United last season. They got that. And they scored a load of goals in the first 3 months. And then they came up against City, lost that game, and it just never really returned. The spark was gone. They realised they were a mile behind what Pep Guardiola was doing. So I think even getting the start, it's the games against Liverpool, Manchester City, Spurs, when the United supporters see the style of play that they're playing with.
I have a question for you, right?
Compares.
At Old Trafford, it seems like there's a massive tourism industry. So a lot of people are going to the game because they've come from all around the world to go and see the match. So the atmosphere hasn't been great at Old Trafford for league games for a long period of time. Does it matter that those games are bad if Paul Pogba does something that is clippable, that you can share and see on the internet? If Martial does something, a drag back, or if Rashford does something, like, do the Man United fans care if the match isn't them dominating possession and whipping down to the byline with old school wingers, crosses in? Like, my point here, I guess, is Mourinho's crappy, clammy football could actually survive and persist, primarily because most Man United fans don't watch the full game. They're watching clips on the internet, and he'll be okay.
Oh, I don't know. I think the problem that Mourinho has is probably what's happening with Liverpool and the connection that Klopp has with the Liverpool supporters, where he has managed to tap into the emotion of what the team want. It's exciting, it's brilliant to watch, it's dramatic, whereas just dull watching United. And one moment of Paul Pogba brilliance probably gets you a couple of days of, oh, maybe he can do it all the time. But then the next week when he doesn't do it again, you're back to the same old questions of, and the World Cup has screwed him with Pogba. Like, Mourinho was dead right in that the World Cup setup most definitely suited Paul Pogba's personality, where he was stuck away in a hotel, away from his family, away from his mates, away from his agent, where actually Deschamps could get at him. But himself and Mourinho are probably still living in the same hotel in Manchester with his agent, with his mates, with everybody around him telling him, you're better than this, do what you want.
Yeah, but I think, Nathan, when he was in Turin under Conte with Juve, I mean, he was exceptional there. So I think it's up to the manager to get the best from his staff. And Paul Pogba is a staff member for Jose Mourinho. So he's got to draw out the best of Pogba. I just think the real Manchester United fans who have supported that team since whenever there were knee-high boots, they want to see good football. They're used to good football. They're used to people having a go, attacking. And with the players, as we've said it, he has it. Just let them play. I'm a Liverpool fan, but I'd love to see United get back to the way that they used to play.
No, you wouldn't.
I would. No. Honestly, I would, because then it makes it more exciting, because you're going to a match. Like, the last 4 Liverpool Man United games in the league have been absolutely atrocious stuff. And now Klopp hasn't been able to break Mourinho down, so that's a negative on Klopp, and it's probably a positive for Mourinho. But if both of them went out and had a go, that's what we all want to see. That's why the World Cup is so exciting, because teams actually went to win. That's why last season's Champions League was so exciting, because teams wanted to score, they wanted to win. Hopefully the Premier League will follow suit.
All right, lads, great stuff. Leon Blanche from BoyleSports. Ger, thanks very much for that. We have 2 live games on Off the Ball this coming Sunday. We're at Anfield for Liverpool against West Ham, and then it is Arsenal against Manchester City. And make sure to check out offtheball.com/BoyleSports for all the very best specials ahead of them. We'll talk to you soon.